Uh, okay, guys. In this video, and today we're going to discuss about our article. And before we start, that we introduce ourselves. Let me introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Raffi Ardiansyah. I'm from SMK Negeri 1 Surabaya.
Okay, my name is Muhammad Hafiz Al Rashid from SMKN 1 Surabaya, majoring in multimedia. Okay, next.
Hello, my name is Rafif Ifa Almorana. I am from East Yogyakarta, SMK Negeri 1 Bandung.
Hello, my name is Arya Windy Saputra. I am from SMKN 1 Sanden.
Okay, let's study together. I want to read my article about IMF approves $3 billion bailout for cash-starved Pakistan. This article written by Asif Shahzad, Reuters or Islamabad. The International Monetary Fund's board approved a US $3 billion bailout program for Pakistan, which will immediately disburse about $1.2 billion to help stabilize the South Asian ailing economy, the lender said on Wednesday. Pakistan and the fund reached a staff-level agreement last month, scoring a short-term pact which got more than the expected funding for the country of 230 million people, which faced an acute balance of payments crisis with only enough central bank reserves to cover barely a month of controlled imports. The board's approval was mandatory before disbursing the first tranche, with the rest to arrive later in installments. Economic stabilization. The EMF Executive Board approved a 9-month standby arrangement SBA for Pakistan for an amount of SDR 250 million, about $3 billion or 111% of quota to support the authorities' economic stabilization programs, the leader said in a statement. It said Pakistan faces a difficult external environment, devastating floods, and policy missteps have led to large fiscal and external deficits, rising inflation, and eroded reserve rulers in FY 23. The deal, a lifeline for Pakistan, which has been on the cusp of default, came after 8 months of two negotiations over fiscal disciplines. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said the bailout was a major step forward in the government efforts to stabilize the economy and achieve macroeconomic stability. It bolstered Pakistan's economic positions to overcome immediate to medium-term economic challenges, giving the government the fiscal space to carve the way forward, he said, terming it a milestone. Sharif said it was achieved against the heaviest of odds and against a seemingly impossible deadline. Sharif's coalition government is due to face a national election this year and must undertake a more painful fiscal discipline measure to satisfy the EMF. It included the central bank raising the policy interest rate to a record high of 22%, while ordinary Pakistan's struggle with inflation running at about 29%, and the government raising 385 billion rupees, about $1.3 $39 billion in new tax policy answer. The IMF said the first funding will provide a policy answer for addressing domestic and external imbalance and a framework for financial support from multilateral and bilateral partners. The programs will focus on implementation of the FY24 budget to facilitate Pakistan's needed fiscal adjustment and ensure debt sustainability while protecting critical social spending. A return to a market determined exchange rate, a proper FX market functioning to absorb external shocks and eliminate FX shortages, it said. The EMF said it wanted Islam about to ensure tight monetary policy aimed disinflation and further progress on structural reforms, particularly in the energy sector. State-owned enterprise governments and eliminate excellence. The deal, which has already brought some relief to investors in the country's stocks, exchange rate and bonds, will unlock more external financing. Okay, next, Muhammad Rafi Ar-Rashid.
Okay. Now I want to read my article. Shrinking domestic industry threatens RA robbers export. The world is expecting expansion of the rubber industry in the near future, but Indonesia may not get piece of the pie in the face of lagging downstream of the commodity. The value global rubber market is expected to reach 51.21 billion US dollar by 2027 from 40.60 60 77 uh, billion US dollar in 2019 due to rising demand from the automotive, construction, and aerospace industry, according to a report from Fortune Business Insight. Other factors include the expanding market for natural rubber, driven by increased demand for tires and industrial durable goods, such as linings for petrol and chemical tanks, and well as automotive gasket and sales. Aziz Payne, chairman of the Indonesian Rubber Council, told the Jakarta Post on Wednesday that Indonesia might not be able to develop its downstream rubber industry in the time to seize the enormous opportunity. Indonesia rubber's industry has suffered a significant decline, as is pointing to an increased number of rubber factories that had closed in the last 4 years. The closure were due to the declining raw materials. He explained it, whereas other country were counting insensitivity plantation expansion and downstream industry development. Aziz pointed to exam of Thailand, where almost all upstream output was used inputs for the country in the rubber industry. In contrast, roughly 15% of the total rubbers output in Indonesia absorbed by the domestic industry. Indonesia produced 3.14 uh, million tons of natural rubber last year, according to Statistic Indonesia or BPS, a feature that has remained stagnant for the past decade. According to International Trade Center online database TradeMap, Indonesia is the world's second largest export of natural rubber after Thailand, but its output has been fluctuation in the towards trend for at least the last 5 years. PPS data showed that Indonesian shipped 3.94 million tons of rubber in 2017, after which rubber shipment decline steadily each year to to reach 2.58 million tons in 2022, a total decline of almost 30%. And as he said, if the condition continues to persist today, Indonesia will not be able to maintain its position as the second large rubber producer worldwide, let alone develop its downstream industry. It is a pity because Indonesia has enormous potential. Erwin Tunas, executive director of the Indonesia Rubber Produce Association Gakpindo, told the Post of Wednesday that the rubber industry had nationwide processing capacity of 4.6 million tons, but it only see 2.6 million tons supply of the raw material. This had resulted in the relatively low uh, utilization rate of 57.4% has continued, and many rubber factories end up closing because of a shortage of natural rubber. And Erwin told Indonesia has relatively high processing capacity, but is not coupled by steady growth in natural number or output. Told the Post Wednesday he attributed the declared production primarily the lack of rubber rejuvenation at plantation combined with disease and extreme weather impact from La Nina in the last 3 years consecutively. He said any famous farmers were switching to cultivation oil palms instead of rubber trees because they were demand more profitable. For existing smallholder rubber farmer, their challenge had been exacerbated by growing difficulty in obtaining subsidized fertilizer in the recent years. That Erwin said. Statista report that the average global price of rubber was 1.54 dollars per kilogram as of this April. This marked a sharp fall from its peak price of 4.982 dollars per kilogram in 2011, according to Singapore Commodity Exchange. In line with the global price decline, Indonesia farm gate price for rubber had dropped between 8 rupiah and 9 rupiah per kilogram, while the ideal price was above 10 rupiah per kilogram. Erwin said. Jung Jacob, chief analyst and co-founder of What's Next Rubber Media International, said Indonesia used to be the preferred source of natural rubber for many automobile tire companies in the world, many because it's cost advantage over the Southeast Asian peers. However, Indonesia natural rubbers has lost a cost advantage over that past few years, largely due to the poor yield of latex from its rubber holding. He wrote in Langdekin Pulse article published in August 2022. In the industry shrinking trend was likely to continue useless. The rubber holding in the country are transformed to be economically viable by raising the average Jacob road. This would include a well-designed accelerate repainting program supported by attractive financial incentive that meet the huge replanting cost and the develop cost till replant trees start yielding after a gestation. period of around 7 years. Okay, that is from me. Next, Afrizal or Rafi Irfan.
Okay. Sick death in attack on Mexican police. Constant Raja Mexico. An explosive attack on a police patrol left sick people that and 14 one in of the region of Mexico was is by drug cartel violence. Authors said on Wednesday, it's an act of brutal terror, said Annick Alvaro, governor of the western state of Jalisco. The attack does Tuesday not using seven improvised explosive device target police and staff from the state prosecutor office in Tlajomulco, the Zuniga, a suburb of the city of Undaraja. He said the region is home to the Jalisco New Generation cartel of Mexico's most powerful and violent drugs traffic groups. This is this is a important even the show what the organized crime group are compatible of Alvaro said without opposing a specific organization. This attack also responds a challenge against the Mexican state as a whole. He added, intimidation tactics. Well, firearms are the weapon of choice for cartel members or car bomb kill a national guardsman on one head order in June in Guanajuato. Another not hit by gang-related violence. Truckers turn apart to be employed increasingly radical tactics to terrorist security forces, according to experts. These are strategies of extreme violence to intimidate the authorities and the population. Gardo Rodriguez terror scan forcing technique investigation of Wednesday the seat of a explosive attack against a police patrol in Tlajomulco, the Zuniga sub in Gundaraja, Jalisco State, Mexico. Scar and the unserved the last Americans who preferred vehicles AFP. Early this month, explosive laden drone struck a house in my Kokunan. Another film target state holding on person. Similar drone attack have been reported in other cartel flashpoint. The objective is to reduce the power of rival from other cartels as will the security forces and provoke terror among the evacuation. The AFP describing scoot as narco terrorism. The Jalisco new generation cartel in particular is known for launching brazen authors. In 2012, its gun shot down army helicopter with propel grenade kill me bells of the security force. The police patrol was response into a report.
Record moro-moro we metu.
Oh,
Oke, deh. Oh, ini. Lanjut.
Yeah. It was a trap. That version of Ivanhoe, however, was called in question by one such sociality faction in the region.
Cek sowe
The skull,
gantian gue.
the skull was never made to use Indira Navarro, a member of a collection of mother of machine person in Jalisco. The told the press, adding that Scott's group were in close contact more than 110,000 are listed as having disbanded in Mexico, and even looking for them and then can carry significant six. Jalisco has the most missing among the country 32 states around 50 55,000 cents. Mexican has recorded more than 304,000 murders and the launch of a controversial military anti-drugs offense in 2006, more anti to criminal organization. Also on Thursday, 13 security personnel who had been taken captain the day before by protests in the southern state of Guerrero were released after negotiation with authorities. Officials said the protesters were infiltrated by a criminal group in Guerrero, which has dured years of violence linked to rough war between drug cartels. Next, Rafif Irfan Maulana.
Halo, what are solid full missiles and why is an Korea developing them? Rather Seoul, North Korea have a song in intercontinental ballistic missile launched for the second time on Wednesday. Uses solid fuel technology, giving it the capability to launch with little preparation. There are some characteristics of solid fuel technology and how it can help the country improve its missile system. What is solid fuel technology? Solid propellants are a mixture of fuel and oxidizer metallic powder, so aluminum often serve as the fuel, and ammonium perchlorate, which is the salt of perchloric acid, and ammonia is the most common oxidizer. The fuel and oxidizer are bound together by a hair rubbery material and packed into a metal casing. When solid propellant burns oxygen from the ammonium perchlorate combines with aluminum to generate enormous amounts of energy and temperature of more create in truce and lifting the missile from the launch pad. Who has tank technology? Solid full datus to were developed by the Chinese centuries ago. Both in made dramatic progress in the mid when the United States developed opened more powerful propellants. North Korea uses solid fuel in a range of small shorter range ballistic missiles. Solid versus liquid. Liquid propellants provide greater propulsive thrust and power but require more complex technology and extra weight. Solid fuel is denser and bursts quickly generating thrust over a short time. Solid fuel can remain in storage for an extended period without degrading of test.
Lanjut.
One depend from us government website expert who know work with the set solid full misalnya air eser and saver to operator and require less logistical support making them harder to take and more survivable than liquid full version. And Kit Panda, a senior fellow at the Uzbekistan Carnegie Endowments for International I mean dietally I had test forces
Monggo lanjut.
X solid propellant missiles which do not need to be fueled. I am immediately ahead of launch. This capability capabilities are much more responsive in a time of crisis, Panda said. North Korea said the development of its new solid full ICBM, the Song, radical promote its nuclear counterattack capability. After the first launch, South Korea Defense Ministry sought to downplay the testing, saying the North would need extra time and effort to master the technology. On Tuesday, I Ministry spokesperson said the were still analyzing the latest launch. Thank you. Next, Rafli.
Okay, guys, I wanna tell you about my article again. Titled EMF approves $3 billion payload for cash-starved Pakistan. And the article written by Asif Shahzad. Reuters or Islamabad. The International Monetary Funds Board approved a $3 billion USA bailout program for Pakistan, which will immediately disburse about $1.2 billion to help stabilize the South Asian ailing economy, the lender said on Wednesday. Pakistan and the fund reached a staff level agreement last month, securing a short-term pact which got more than the expected funding for the country of 230 million people, which faces an acute balance of payments crisis with only enough can central banks reserves to cover barely amount of controlled imports. The board's approval was mandatory before disbursing the first tranche, with the rest to arrive later installments. Economic stabilization. The EMF Executive Board approved a 9 months standby arrangement SBA for Pakistan for an amount of 2,250 million dollar, about $3 billion or 111% of quota to support the authorities' economic stabilization program. The leader said in a statement, it said Pakistan faces a difficult external environment, devastating floods, and policy missteps have led to large fiscal and external deficits, rising inflation, and eroded reserve buffer in FY 2023. The deal, a lifeline for Pakistan, which has been on the cusp of default, came after 8 months of the negotiations over fiscal discipline. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said the bailout was a major steps forward in the government efforts to stabilize the economic and achieve macroeconomic stability. It bolstered Pakistan's economic positions to overcome immediate to medium-term economic challenges, giving the government the fiscal space to chart the way forward, he said, terming it a milestone. Sharif said it was a shift against the heaviest of odds and against a seemingly impossible deadline. Sharif's coalition government is due to face a national election this year and must undertake more painful fiscal discipline measures to satisfy the EMF. It, it included the central bank raising its policy interest rate to a record high on of 22%, while ordinary Pakistanis struggle with inflation running at about 29% and the government raising 385 billion rupees, $1.39 billion in new taxes. Policy answer. The IMF said the fresh funding will provide a policy answer for addressing domestic and external imbalance and a framework for financial support from multilateral and bilateral partners. The program will focus on implementation of the FY 2024 budget to facilitate Pakistan's needed fiscal adjustment and ensure that sustainability while protecting critical social spending. A return to a market determined exchange rate, a proper FX market functioning to absorb external shocks and eliminated FX shortage, it said. The IMF said it wanted Islamabad to ensure a tight monetary policy aimed at disinflation and further focus on structural reform, particularly in the energy sector, state-owned enterprises, governments, and resilience. The deal, which has already brought some relief to investors in the country's stock exchange rate and bonds, will unlock more external financing. And well, okay, next, Hafiz Al-Rashid can tell about your newspaper.
Okay, thank you, Muhammad Rafi Ardiansyah. The second round, uh, I want to read my newspaper about shrinking domestic industry treatment, RA rubbers export. The world is expecting expansion of the rubber industry in the near future, but Indonesia may not get a piece of the pie in the face of lagging downstream of the commodity. The value of global rubber market expected to reach 51.21 billion US dollar by 2027 from 40.77 billion US dollar in 2019 to raising demand from the automotive, construction, and aerospace industry, according to report from Fortune Business Insight. Other factors include the expanding market for natural rubber driven by increased demand for tires and industrial durable goods, such as linings for petroleum and chemical tanks, automotive gasket and seals as is paint. Chairman of the Indonesian Rubber Council told the Jakarta Post on Wednesday that Indonesia might not be able to develop its downstream rubber industry in time to seize the enormous opportunity. Indonesia rubber industry has suffered significant and as I said, pointing to increased number of rubber factories that had closed in the past 4 years. The closure were due to cleaning raw materials. He explained, whereas other country were containing to incentivity, plantation expansion, and downstream industry development, as is point two. Example of Thailand, where almost upstream output the use as inputs the for that country rubber industry, in contrast, roughly mere 15% of the total rubber output in Indonesia was absorbed by the domestic industry. Indonesia produced 3.14 million tons of natural rubber last year, according to Statistic Indonesia or BPS, a figure that has remained stagnant for the past decade. According to International Trade Center online database trade map, Indonesia is the world's second largest export of natural rubber after Thailand, but its output has been facultating on the downward trend for at least the last 5 years. BPS data showed that Indonesia shipped 3.94 million tons of rubber in 2017, after which rubber shipment declined steady each year to reach 2.78 million tons in 2022, a total decline of almost 30%. And as he said, if the condition continues to persist today, Indonesia will not be able to maintain its position at the second largest rubber producer worldwide, let alone develop its downstream industry. It is a pity because Indonesia has enormous potential. And Anwin Tunas, Executive Director of the Indonesia Rubber Producers Association or Kapindo, told the Post on Wednesday that the rubber industry had a that nationwide processing capacity of 4.6 million tons, but it only see 2.6 million tons supply of the raw material. This has resulted in the relatively low in utilization rate of 57.4% has continued, and many rubber factories end up closing because of a shortage of natural rubber. And Elwin said Indonesia has a relatively high processing capacity, but is not coupled by a steady growth in natural rubber or output. The post of Wednesday, he attributed the decline on production primarily to the lack of number rejuvenation of plantation combined with disease and extreme weather impact from La Nina in the last 3 years. Consequently, he said many farmers were switching to cultivating oil palms instead of rubber trees because they were demand for profitable. For existing smallholder rubber farmer, they challenge had been exacerbated by growing difficulty in obtaining substantial fertilizer in recent years. Erwin said Statista report that the average global price of rubber was 1.54 per kilogram. As of this April, this marked a sharp fall from peak price of 4.82 per kilogram in 2011. According to the Singapore Commodity Exchange, in the wake of global price decline, Indonesia farm gate price for rubber had dropped to between 8,000 rupiah and 9,000 rupiah per kilogram, while the deal price was above 10,000 rupiah per kilogram, Erwin said. John Jacob, chief analytic and co-founder of What's Next Rubber Media International, said Indonesia used the preferred source of natural rubber for many automobile tire companies in the world, mainly because of its cost advantage over its Southeast Asian peers. However, Indonesia natural rubber has lost its cost and advantage over the past few years, largely due to the poor yielding of latex from its rubber holdings. He wrote in LinkedIn Plus article published in August 2022, the industry shrinking trend was likely to continue unless the rubber holding in the country are transformed to economical viable by raising the average yield. That's Jacob wrote. This would include as a well-designed accelerated replanting program support by attractive financial incentive that meet the huge replanting cost and the development cost still replant to start yielding after a gestation period of around 7 years. Okay, thank you. That's it from me. Next, Arizal Windri or Irfan.
Okay. Sick death in attack of Mexican police. Kenshi French Pence in Baraja, Michigan. An explosive attack on a police patrol left 6 people dead and for 14 wounded in the region of Mexican war hit by drug cartel violence. Authorities on Wednesday is acts of brutal terror said Enrique Alvaro, governor of the western state of Jalisco. The attack Thursday night using seven improvised explosive device target police and staff from the state prosecutor office in to Jumalkonda Zuniga, sub of the city of Kundaraja. He said the region is home to the Jalisco new generation cattle of the Mexico most fertile in and violent drugs trafficking groups. This is an unprecedented event, even that show what this organization criminal group are covered of Alvaro said without accusing a specific organization. This attack also responds a challenge against the Mexicans that as will be added intimidation tactics. Well, firearms are the weapon of choice of the cartel member. A car bomb killed a National Guard man and wounded other is Juni in Juando. Another is that hit hard by gang related violence. Uh, Drug peddlers appear to be employing increasingly radical tactics to terrorize the security force, according to experts. These are strategies of extreme violence to intimidation the authorities and the population get to reduce rest. Terror screen forensic technical investigation of Wednesday in the shed of an explosive attack against patrol in La Chonco de Luga, a sub in Jalisco State, Mexico. Shared just at the UNICEF the last American private university told AFP. Earlier this month, explosive laden drones took a house in Chortwan. Another violence recruits that landings on version. Similar drone attack have been reported in on the cartel Fastbone. The objective is to reduce the firepower even from all the else well the security forces and provoke terror among the civic and population. Security and Julian David Suviendo told AFP, describing such as narco-terrorism. The Jalisco new generation gathered in popularity in the launching blind attack against authorities in 2015. Its gunmen shot down an army helicopter with rockets. Propelled grenade killing members of the security forces. The police patrol was responded in the report from a member of the group searching for missing stick while who said she had received an anonymous phone call and tip off. Both clad described in the cover site. It was a trap he added. That version of man, however, We called into question by one scientific society organization in the region. This call was never made to use Indira Navarro, a member of a collection member of a mother of missing person in Jalisco, told the press, adding that short groups were in close contact. More than 110,000 people are saying this band in Mexico, and even looking for them can carry significant risks. Jalisco has the most fishing among the country 3 to 32 status around 50 55,000 cents. Mexico has recorded more than 340,000 murder since the launch of a controversial military drug option in 2016, most attributed to criminal organization. Also, last day, 13 security personnel who had been taken captive the day before by prosecutors in the southern state of Guerrero were released after negotiations with authorities. Officials said the brothers were infiltrated by a criminal group in Guerrero, which has 100 years of violence like to prove wars between drug cartels. Next, David Irfan Maulana.
Okay. What are solid fuel missiles and why is and Korea developing them? Reveter Seoul. North Korea have a song intercontinental ballistic missile ICBM. Loud, loud, Loudhead for the second time on Wednesday uses solid full L technology, giving in the capability to launch with little preparation. Here are some characteristics of solid full technology and how I can help the country improve its missile system. What is solid fuel technology? Solid propellant are a mixture of fuel and oxidizer. Metallic powder such as aluminum of the surface the fuel and ammonium perchlorate which in the salt over electric acid and ammonia is the most common oxidizer. The fuel and oxidizer and bound together by a hair rubbery material and packed into a metal casing. When solid propellant burns oxygen from the ammonium perchlorate combination with aluminum to generate enormous amounts of the energy and temperature of more than to scone 760 degrees Celsius, airing plus and lifting the missile from the launch pad. Was the technology? Solid full data pad to fire was developed by the Chinese countries ago. Both is made dramatic progress in the mid century century when the United States developed more powerful propellants. North Korea uses solid fuel in a range of small shorter range ballistic missiles. The Soviet Union filled in fresh solid fuel ICBM the RT-2 in the early on 1970, followed by France's development of S-3, also known as SSBS, a medium-range ballistic missiles. China started testing solid fuel ICBM in the late on 1990. South Korea has also said it has current, efficient, and advanced solid propellant ballistic missile technology top in much smaller rockets so far. Solid versus liquid. Liquid propellant provide greater propulsive thrust and power, but require more complex technology and extra weight. Solid fuel is denser and quite quickly generate close over a short time. Solid fuel can remain in storage for an extended and period without degrading or breaking down. A common issue with liquid fuel. One fun depend from us government website expert who know work with the 3X North project said solid fuel missile easier and safer to operate and require less logistical support, making the harder to detect and more survivable than liquid fuel. Ankin Panda, a senior fellow at the Uzbekistan Chandler Endowments for International Peace, said any country that operates large scale missile-based nuclear force will seek solid propellant missiles, which do not need to be fueled immediately ahead of launch. These capabilities are much more responsive and a team of precise panda side. North Korea said the development of its new solid fuel ICBM the Hwasong 18 would radically promote its nuclear counterattacks capability. After the French clone South Korea Defense Ministry sought to downline the testing, saying the North would need extra time and effort to master the technology. On Tuesday, ministry spokesperson said they were still analyzing the latest hood. Thank you. Next, Rafli.
Okay, yes. So that's all our storytelling today. Thank you for listening and see our video. See you next day and goodbye.
Ikut aja, Bul.